Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Oh.
Hello, Apsif from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is Dimp Digital's flagship video game podcast, where we take you through the ups and the downs of the video game world. We are here on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. However, if you want to support this grassroots independent endeavour, head over to patreon.com/Dimp Digital and join the community. Hashtag and in pocket. This time I'm joined by the 4-time Dimp Digital Gaming Quiz champion. Back from the bins is Tom Atkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
Oh, I've crawled out the gutter to make an appearance.
Looks like you have as well, just crawled straight out the gutter.
I don't know what's going on in my eyes. I keep getting really tired. I'm really busy. It's like I've been crying.
Staying up too late playing video games.
I think it is, yeah. Been doing that. Not as late though.
No, I try not to stay up to... I mean, the other night I blew it and was up till nearly 1.
I did see that. I had a little look. I was looking on that PlayStation actually. I was like, cool. And it's a scary game in the dark as well.
I was that Resident Evil 4 jobby remake and I just got latched into it. I was doing the plan of just doing one chapter an evening or one chapter a session, but got really sucked into it. It's because you had said about a moment that I knew about, so I had to get to that moment.
Just to flush it out the memory.
Yeah, just flush out the memory.
I really thought
I'd
blown it, but I was like, I remember, I think it was pissed off. When he said, I went, that gives me the license to talk up to that point. I suppose you probably flushed that out of your memory and went, no, I forgot all about that.
I surprisingly remember very little from the original, but that's kind of a good thing, I guess, in many ways. I mean, I'm up to about the point, maybe by a couple of hours or so, where I got to before, so it will be completely fresh, hopefully.
Downhill from there.
Could be. Well, certainly when I turned last time, but I'm definitely finding this one just a little bit more playable. But we will get into that maybe a bit later in the show, but not how you'd expect. But definitely at a later date for Resident Evil 4 Remake. Atkins, you're back in the hot seat.
Back in the...
Big shot seat.
I can't remember the face.
I can't remember either, actually. I think he does about 8. The thing is that it's something from The Office, UK version better. It's the outtakes that kind of like blow your memory away, and you're like, what actually was the one that got into the show? Because there's outtakes and extras where I think it takes him about 12 takes to do it, and he keeps fucking about. So
he seems to do it for every series he does now, so they're all fucking hilarious as well.
Yeah, that is one of the good things to look at in a post kind of watching a Ricky Gervais series, is to get those outtakes in. But you are in the hot seat today. We do have an FGL update.
Oh,
no games have been released. That's the second week in a row, so that's fine. That's how it rolls sometimes.
I still ain't got a game out of.
No, I was looking at it, and I think it's going to be Legend of Zelda. I think that may be your first one. That'll be.
Yeah, so I almost, and then I realised it was fucking today. I wanted to. Actually, I think the reviews, I was going to stick that dredging because I really like the look of that, but I think that's already been reviewed, isn't it?
It has now, it came out.
It's got a respectable score.
Yeah, low 80s. Have a look at yours quick. So Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate, which we know about, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, The Lords of the Fallen, that's the only one I'm not sure of.
Yeah,
Forza Motorsport, undated. Stalker 2, undated. Tekken 8, probably dated. You'll know more about that than me.
So. It hasn't got an official date, but it seems to be coming, definitely. They've just done a big preview, so I assume it's almost done.
The day before, stuck in legal battles. And then Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Unofficially delayed. We haven't had the official word yet, but that'll come in the form of an official delay. So, I think Zelda will be your first game.
Right, so I've still got another whole month for this debacle.
Yeah, but we'll talk about Tears of the Kingdom a little bit later on. In terms of the updates, we've only got one. Pac-Man Adcock transferring out some games. Death Stranding 2, not sure what it was doing on a list to start with. I mean, not coming in a month of Sundays for this year. If it came out next year, I'd be like, all right, decent. decent
When was
job
that?
there.
22? No, it was 21, wasn't it?
No, I think the original was 20. It was PS4 originally.
Oh, shit. Fucking was, wasn't it? I'm thinking because it's got that PS5 special edition, I'm thinking it's later.
In
Was
my
it
head,
same year as Tsushima, or?
in my head, I've got 2019. 2019 officially. So,
Was that the same year as Tsushima? Or
Tsushima was 2020, so
Oh, I
full
can't
year
even remember
before.
anything.
No, well, that pandemic ruined everything, didn't it? It took
well,
2
it
years
did.
of people's lives, so almost 3 in some cases. But he's got rid of Death Stranding 2, obviously unlikely to be coming. And he's put in Lego 2K Drive, which
into it.
he was kind of goaded into it. There was a little bit of chatter in there about, might be a good kids game for some youngsters in
piped it
there.
up, didn't he?
Biff started it off by talking about it. And I haven't really
Had you
looked too
seen it?
much.
Because I'd never heard of it. I assumed he meant something else. And
No,
got the 2K. I thought it was like done by 2K Games.
I've only seen a sizzle reel of it, like a short one at that, but I knew of it because I saw people making a big deal about it. And it looked like a bit of a Forza Horizon crossed with Mario Kart potentially. So it could be super fun.
Yeah.
You never know.
He went to that Legoland yesterday. That's why he's hot off the press. And
Ah, yes.
I had a
Yeah.
bloody video of him showing me all the latest Lego merchants.
He's selling half that though, isn't he?
Yeah,
So
he's supposed to be skinny and he's wandering around fucking Legoland. It's like 80 quid a go.
nonsense. Told you about the football boots he bought anyway. That's his own. If he wants to throw money away and not buy a Resident Evil 4 remake, that's up to him. But at the moment, he's missing out on a great game, in my opinion. But still a long way to go on that. So anyway, Lego 2K Drive in for Pac-Man. We'll see how that scores later on in the year.
So that free to DS2 goes into the open free market. Is that only for this year? So we can't pick that up.
Yeah, it won't be there next year. Well, you can pick it up if you put it in your original roster, it'll be free. But yeah, this year someone could pick that up.
So if they did like a E3 announcement and said it's coming December, then anyone could.
Someone could sneak
before
it.
the 10th.
Before the 10th, they'll be laughing.
Cool.
Right. This is not on the docket, but I thought because I've got you here, I thought this is a good little segue because Logan and I have been speculating about why this has happened, and now we can get it from the horse's mouth. So here's the headline: Microsoft's long-running $1 Xbox Game Pass trial offer has been stopped.
Cool.
It's from VGC. The company is, quote, evaluating different marketing promotions, end quote. Not here to talk about that. I mean, why that's still going on, I don't know. They were absolutely flashing money away there, potentially. But how it's been going this long, I'm not quite sure. But essentially, as a cheap way of getting in, and some people could exploit it and get like a good few months out of it at a really cheap price.
It's £1 for a month, was it?
Yeah, and if you cancelled halfway through, they give you £1 back. So it was. So that's no longer there. I don't think anyone expected that to run forever. They clearly looked at that and someone went, Alan, there's a lot of money going out the door here that we could potentially lose. They went, yeah, cut that. They're getting enough value now to pay up for it. So that's that. But we've speculated long and hard about you and your Game Pass subscription binned. So
Chuck it.
And look, correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't just Game Pass that's been binned. You've been on a massive purge. Amazon Prime even getting binned off.
Now even binge, yeah.
So I guess my question is this just a purge of subscriptions because you're getting fed up with not using them to the full extent? And then on Game Pass, and I guess it's the same for the Sony PSN Essential, that's gone. PlayStation Plus Essential's gone. Nintendo Online, or is that still knocking along?
No, that's gone.
That's gone as well.
I literally, the only subscription I currently have now, which again is pointless, it's only because the wife watches it, is Netflix.
Yeah, it's the only one that survived the cut.
That's the only one that survived the cut. Everything else, I had Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Amazon Prime, Spotify.
You got Spotify still?
Yes, but Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I think that's it. It's 6 subscriptions, and they've all been cut.
Christ.
Other than
Netflix.
Other than Netflix, yeah. And yeah, 7 would have been Netflix, but that's survived the cut because the wife deals with that.
Yeah.
Now, the reasons why a lot of the media, television ones, were cut was due to a little illegal manoeuvre. The cracked
No need to have it.
Yeah.
Them
So
fire sticks.
them fire sticks that everyone in the world seems to be getting.
Oh, yeah,
now.
everyone's got one of those these
Got
days,
one
it seems.
these days. And they seem to be getting a lot cheaper than what I pay for, so they need to be looking into that as well. But yeah, so that was that of a lot of them. But the games ones,
Yes.
that was beginning of the year when I sort of, it was mainly I kept them because I kept picking up them games, the monthly games that were coming that you get with the Xbox Live Gold ones, which were always dog shit. And then you'd get some good PlayStation ones, and I was like, oh, well, I might as well keep it for that, because then as long as I, redeem them, then they're there in the locker for whenever I ever choose to play them.
Yeah.
I think I had, well, I'll tell you, when I started PS Plus, when Rocket League come out, just as that was the freebie.
Right. Yeah.
So that was when I started, and I've had it since then, just running. I can't remember what year that was, 2015, 14?
2015 or 16 I've got in my head, but we'll look it
Yeah,
up
so I was
just for,
thinking, have a little look up. So I've had it running for, what, 8 years maximum? So I've had it for a solid 8 years.
2015.
2015 it was, yeah. So just give or take 8 years. And yeah, I just sort of thought, I'm building these games up, and I thought, I've been building these games up for 8 years. I've never actually played. I reckon I have a handful of that I've redeeming free a month.
Yeah.
I've probably played about 3. I was like, for fuck's sake. And then it sort of dawned on me. I was like, well, I don't like this sort of license thing. This is why I think I toy so badly with the physical versus digital games. I understand the physical and digital battle. I understand the convenience. I'm sitting there on a fucking Friday when my game's not turned up by the postie, and you're fucking 4 hours in because you've been playing it since midnight. I do get that, and that's the convenience, and like that's the way to go. Certainly in this day and age where we're getting strikes left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
And with me, the only thing that plays with Rodney.
Yeah.
My character is the price. My persona. It is the price. It always seems to be cheaper.
It is almost certainly
cheaper physically, which is fucking baffles me.
At least a fiver, usually a tenner.
Exactly that. So that plays with one thing, but it's also what I am a huge hoarder. So I still have most of the consoles I've ever owned up in that loft. I mean, pointlessly, they're not ever getting used. I'm not getting them out. So again, you've got to be questioning this motive. But what I like to think is once the PS4, like we've even seen it this last week with the Wii U and the 3DS when they started shutting down these servers.
Yep.
So what Rodney struggles with is those, like when I've got Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold, I don't actually own those games at all. So if I'm redeeming those games, all right, I'm getting them for free. I mean, I'm paying £8 a month or whatever it is. When it's all dead, and if I go and buy these physical games, I've got something to keep, and like that will go up in the loft with the old console. Years down the line, I mean, this is so stupid because this ain't happening, but years down the line, I think, God, that was a good console. If I'd spent all that money on these digital games, the thing will probably be all shut down by then, and they sort of disappear into the abyss. Yeah. So Rodney sort of gets angry that I'm paying for this pretend license. But at the expense, I'm fucking just filling my loft up with dead weight.
Yeah, and also you got to be careful these days, and it might be something that becomes more prominent as the generation rolls on, is there have been examples where that disc that you put in needs an online connection to install the game, which means if the servers do go to Kingdom Come and get blown to smithereens, then you put it in and it'll go,
those physicals anyway.
But I do understand the physical and digital argument.
I'll tell you what's the fucking worst. Something like this is all right. I don't know why this is here. It's just holding this up for the thing. But you can buy these. You open them up, case. And you get a fucking bit of leaflet in there that says, "Here's your code." And I think, right,
I've seen
cheating.
That is cheating, isn't it? Yeah, I have seen that being wheeled out on occasions. That is naughty. So that's the digital side of things.
That's the digital side of things. But but the decision ultimately to get rid of Game Pass and thing was just because I wasn't using it as much as I thought I was. as I needed to. I was paying for it. There's months and months were going by where I hadn't even picked it up, to be honest. I hadn't played. And my physical backlog kept increasing and increasing. And I sort of went through them and had a look. I've got so much now that I've only got a little space. You can't really see it off screen.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners, I'm pointing to where my games are. I've
got
got
stores all the bodies.
All the bodies, they go under there. I've got two things, and
fridge.
It's basically one
Freezer
PlayStation. Yeah, probably is actually PlayStation and Xbox, and I've got like my old PS4 games. And it's got to the point now where I have to actually choose which ones to put in there. And I was like, well, I'll put all the ones I've not played. So I did that, and then I was like, fucking hell, there's like 20 games there that I've not actually finished or I've not even started. And I was like, bloody hell, I've got these Game Pass. I've essentially got my own Game Pass. So
yes.
This year, at the beginning of the year, I mean, we're 3 months in and I've fucking hardly done anything. But
that's another reason why, though. If you're not playing as much, the appeal of paying monthly for stuff that you're not even playing becomes less of a thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. So like I said to myself this year, I said, right, well, I'll cancel them. Because there wasn't anything on there that was really like, wow, I needed to play that. Probably, I said to you the other day, I reckon something like Starfield might be the one, and big enough to get me back on.
But would you not just want the physical version of that to play whenever? And cause it'd be a bloater game, so you'll be on that Game Pass for probably 3 months or so, trying to get through it all. Then the DLC will come out, and you'll be like, oh.
Okay, that is true. I mean, I don't know why. I'm trying to think when the big last physical Xbox game I bought. Gears 5, played that on Game Pass. Yeah. Played it, completed it, haven't played it since. Halo, played it on Game Pass, haven't played it since. Horizon 4 and 5, played it on there, haven't bought it since. So tell me 4 you give to me, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't remember the last big game that I would ordinarily buy. Like I've got every single Gears of War game up to even 4 on X, like all on physical. So I've got the collection, but I don't know why. Just because of Xbox, it just seems like such a good service to have for those sort of big exclusives that. Yeah, I've just always opted not to buy the physical, even though it does make sense now.
Well, it makes no sense if you were paying to Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're not now, there'll be a decision. There'll be a decision. And all the access to those games are gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is the thing. The good thing with those is, you know that those ones will stay on the big puppet. Have they taken any? Do you reckon they take any first part?
The only stuff I've seen go off there is I think Forza Horizon 4 might be.
Oh, cool. Because they have all the license.
Or it's free, I think, that's gone, but 4 may follow suit because the licensing. So.
The likes the Master Chief Collection and stuff like that. That would
would
be same.
Yeah.
I guess the Bethesda stuff now. And that's done and dusted.
That'll go and stay on there.
Yeah. So, I think that will be the first conundrum is when that drops, if it never does. I'll have to make a decision because at the moment, there's few games on there that I have sort of sniffed at and gone, is it time to get back on? Because I started playing a few little ones. It was like that Phoenix Immortals, Phoenix Rising.
Yeah.
I played that and... It Takes Two. I never actually finished it. I got quite close to the end. I sort of thought, should I get it just for a couple of months just to finish these games off? But I haven't. And it's just that constant. I just wanted to try and make a sort of effort to really clear this backlog of physical games I have.
Clear the real Game Pass. It's
the real Game Pass there, and then maybe go back. But I've got to start considering now that it's probably worth more. To me, the trouble will be is convincing Rodney to spend 50 quid on a physical game when I can play it for 8 quid on Game Pass. That will be the deciding thing. And then Rodney can go, well, there's other games on he wanted to play, like Somerville and...
They're probably about 10 quid by the time you get...
Exactly. Like they said the other day, Alan Wake Remastered. Now, that's one I was a huge fan of that original game. Played it, loved it. Got the PS3... I got it on Xbox 360. remaster was released, I was like, oh, I was sniffing at that. I was like, oh, it's 30, 40 quid. That seems a bit steep. I thought that's a dead cert for Game Pass.
Yeah.
But then, like the other day, you said it to me. It's like, oh, it's like 11 quid. I was like, fuck me. Yeah, I could have a Game Pass, which is about 11 quid in it a month.
Yeah.
The ultimate.
And it'll go once you've ended the subscription, or you just buy it outright.
Exactly, I'll buy it and they've got it forever. So yeah, there is a conundrum playing up with Rodney, but yeah, that was the reason that both were binned.
And just to be clear, it wasn't just Game Pass; it was all the gaming stuff as well.
No, it was all game.
Just the Game Pass is of the three the best in terms of value and
in terms of value and what I was using the most. I mean, I did play. To be fair, I did play a couple of PlayStation 5 games. I played through Control Ultimate Edition and Maneater PS5 games, which were both because they're dropping the better games, the free ones, obviously not including the subscription services that they now. I've currently never actually owned the PS5 subscription thing. Was it PS?
So PS Plus Extra is the tier
Extra,
up.
that's it. So I've only ever had Essential, which only gives you
a couple of monthly ones.
You don't get the catalogue.
No.
So I've never actually owned that one or even purchased it. So you see, no subscriptions binned for the time being.
Yeah.
It's not even a finance. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm saving money. I'm not. I'm flush. Everybody. It really was just. It was just wasted money. I don't know. I think I'm getting more thrifty. Is that the word? As I'm getting older and sort of think, well, it's just like wasting money. Like it's there. I mean, it's not. It's probably all right because I'll go down the pub and buy a couple of beers and that goes down the fucking drain. So there's money being spent elsewhere.
I find I'm annoyed that I've paid for both PlayStation Plus, I think Premium. It was half price before the Jim Ryan blow up merchant, and Game Pass. They both expire on the same day in 2025. Oh. I'm sort of annoyed I did that because I don't know. I've been leaning the last few months just not bothering because, like you said, there's so many games that come out that don't go on the service that I wouldn't mind just paying for, like Resident Evil 4. I'm not going to wait for that to fucking hit a subscription service near you. Like, you get the odd thing on there, but very, very rarely is it a game that I've been monitoring and want, and then it arrives day and date on the service. You sort of you're at the mercy of Jim and Phil to produce the good. You're giving over money as a promise of accepting them. When they spend stuff on like Atomic Heart or no, stuff like Atomic Heart which looks good and then ends up being gash, you're like, well, that was the
trouble also with my things. You also do tend to miss out. I haven't listened to your review yet of Hi-Fi Rush, but that was a bit bummed out. I was like, see, that's one I could thing. But again, then I assume that's out for purchase as well, would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're all purchasable
ready to
get. I suppose those smaller ones, the only blow is that you've got that maybe not a physical one to latch onto some of the smaller stuff, and like Somerville. But 30 quid for Hi-Fi Rush, it's a cut price anyway. But I'm thinking of. I mean, I'm stuck here for 2 more and a bit years, so Ronnie's not going to be happy for then. He's going to be kept up for 25, 26 months because of this. But I may well just cull them both. They both end on exactly the same day, and I might say, I'm done with this. I've got.
I think Steam will ever do one.
Don't know. You feel like
they need to.
They don't really need to, do they?
They've got so many stars of sale on. I think it's just finished, isn't it?
Yes.
And there's like
sale.
Games on there for peanuts. You can pick.
That's what I mean.
I'll see something like Resident Evil. No, Star Wars. I think falling off for like 3 quid. I was like.
And to be honest, there's games that sometimes I think, well, I don't want to play that day one because it might be buggy or whatever. Some sort of needs a few patches. And again, at that point, it's like, well. If I wait a little while, it's going to be on the cheap anyway. Yeah. So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, but I can't do anything about it. I'm sort of trapped in having to check the subscription services for something that I might want to play, so I'm not flashing money away, rather than just going out and playing. You know what? I fancy playing Yakuza Kiwami because I've got it. It's like, I've got to play something on this service because otherwise it's money being flushed. And then, I've said this many times, when the DLC comes along and you end up buying DLC for something you don't own, So that when you eventually pull the plug on it, you lose access to the DLC. Just rubs it fucking chaps my arse, that does. But it's a stupid complaint, because like you said, the amount of money you usually save is quite a lot, but I feel like I'm playing stuff that I don't necessarily really want to play. I always feel obligated to, and it really fucks with my systems that I have. But well, I'm stuck there for 2 years, so I could just buy stuff during that time. I've already paid the money for it, like at a cut price.
Cool,
just buy the stuff. You get a little discount usually for being a member of each of those, so maybe I'll look at sorting this out one day. Anyway, I just wanted to pick your brains on that. It had been a while. Diablo 4 open beta impressions.
Here's another one. Again, same conundrum. The good thing is nothing's set in stone currently.
No, but as soon as Phil closes that deal within a few weeks, this will be on.
And it ain't fucking cheap as well. I'm looking at that. I've got that wish list. The cheapest I think I've seen it's about 60. I think.
Yes.
I'm like fucking hell. But like you say, it could be, or I could be waiting a year. Like they might say, all right, look, this is our big game. Let this go through physical. We'll stick it on Game Pass in a year. Am I going to want to wait a year to play Diablo 4? You'll find out next in preview of Diablo 4.
So what's the background on this Diablo franchise? Where have we got to? Have we played any?
I have played numero 3 once. That's it. So I haven't played any. Well, I played 3. So I haven't played 1 or 2. 1 and 2. Well, 1's very old. I don't know if my brain could deal with that. That might be a Witcher 3 jobby.
Well, I was thinking about this.
Witcher 1, sorry, jobby.
Well, 1, 2 need to be played, surely.
Yeah.
Find this. What's her name? Edith? I don't know what her name is. Erith? There's some woman.
New one.
I can't remember what
the new one. Lilith.
Lilith, that's it.
Edith, Lilith. That's the one. So to be honest, I don't actually know much of the lore or story. That didn't really seem to, unbelievably, that's not what got me into here. It's the boring ass combat. I can't remember. They're very PC games, aren't they? Very PC games.
Yeah.
I think the thing that got me in was that Torchlight. I think I started playing that. I think I played that through, and I just quite liked the sort of, because I was playing it on a PC, so that sort of point and click aspect of it. And it's quite a lazy game. I find it really easy to. I can put a podcast in because I don't really take much notice to the story because it's not it seems to be more serviceable than I don't know if I'm sure the hardcore Diablo fans are all in all loving the fucking story, but
they're mad.
It always seems to be a bit. It's the loot grind and the fucking I suppose it's just the loot grind, isn't it? And the RPG elements of it and fucking getting them numbers up. But so it pretty much started with what was that game I just said? The brain's gone again.
Torchlight,
sorry, that was it. So playing through that, and I love that what's it called? That isometric ARPG, I think they call it. I really like that. So from there, it went to Diablo 3, and in the end, I was like looking at the PC version. For some reason, back in about 3 or 4 years ago, I think I've made the decision to play it on the Switch. So I just thought it'd be quite a good little game that it's quite chapter driven, and it looked like that sort of game where you can drop in and out co-op. I remember hearing reviews of the port on Switch. There's a professional fucking Diablo streamer that I follow on YouTube,
right?
Who sort of loves it, and he was sort of saying he's like, I'd never come off of the PC for Switch, but he's saying out of all the console versions I've played, he said this Switch one is very good.
Ooh.
He said just because of the sort of flexibility and sort of using it handheld, and it sort of had some sort of graphical boost. I don't know. I think it was one of those games where it was on par with the fucking PS4 version. They're like, right, what's happening here?
Apparently the best version of Ori and the Blind Forest is on Switch because it has
really?
60
also
FPS
Resident Evil Revelation 2 is better than the PS4 version on Switch. I was like, how could that be?
Come on.
I think Digital Foundry did a video. But anyway, so it was that. So I then bought that and played through the whole campaign. I didn't do any of the extra stuff, which is what these games are supposed to be for. So I can't call myself a hardcore fan of Diablo.
No.
But I really did enjoy my time with it. It was just one of those games that I think I was like putting on like songs in the background. Like I could listen. I feel like I can do other stuff whilst playing it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games I can sort of giving me something to do. And I haven't got to use too much brain power. Like, when you're playing something like Last of Us, you're sitting there and you're engaging in the story, you're immersing yourself. When you're playing a game like Diablo, I'm just like walking around these dungeons, killing stuff and looting. And that's it. And I sort of don't even have to be really there. I can just wander. What the brain can wander.
Don't be present.
Exactly. I can have a podcast on in the background. And I don't know, I just found something quite cathartic playing like that. And I just really enjoyed it. So I've been really hyped since like the announcement of 4 and seeing what had happened, like seeing it being developed and like, cool, it looks really nice. So when I see Salmon purchase the game on PC, so he got early access to the beta last week, and I was like, oh, I might do it, I might buy it, and then looked into it. I was like, oh, well, they're doing a free one next week, so I might as well just wait for that before pulling the plug.
Jump in it.
So that's where we're at. So I don't have a very big history with Diablo, but I have played a Diablo game to completion and do enjoy it. And I've got to say, I absolutely smashed a granny out of this one.
Yeah. So what class did you pick?
I picked.
Or did you do a few?
I did do 2. I done 2, and you're gonna love me for this because guess which one I picked for my main
Necromancer.
It was the Necromancer.
Feet up.
The reason why I love these games is because of their feet up nature.
Yeah.
I went for the most feet up option of chucking out those fucking little minions.
That's it. Just sit there
and they
do
can
nothing.
deal with that, and it was incredible. I played Necromancer in 3 as well.
Yeah.
So I did sort of 2 ends of the spectrum. So I did Necromancer, which I got up to the max level that you could get up to in the beta, which was 25, which took me about 15 hours, I reckon.
Christ.
Knowing there's no fucking clock, but having a guess, I was playing it for I played it when was it? Friday. I played Friday night, most of Saturday, and then half of Sunday I played it as well. No, not half of Sunday, because we was in London. So that's a lie. Monday, sorry. It was still going on Monday. I think it stopped at a certain time. Can't remember when it was now. But yeah, so pretty much I didn't play Resident Evil until Monday evening because I was playing that all weekend. I was like, well, this is going to disappear soon. I ain't going to get to play it till June.
No.
And really enjoyed it. So I played that up and pretty much completed what you could. It was the whole of the first chapter, basically. And then it showed you like the map, and there was various dungeons and things, and you could do. I didn't completely 100% clear it down, but done the majority of it. And then decided well, I've been playing this sort of feet up character. Let's give the barbarian, which is
full on melee
on your Todd. You got no fuckers.
Yeah.
And it's quite a difference. I've got to say, it feels a lot harder. But I think something that I seen this one streamer who's a real professional, I think he said one of his gripes was it's too easy, this game. And I was like, well, I quite like the easy nature of it. I don't want to be struggling here in these dungeons, getting killed. It's not Blood Bowl, mate. This is sit back, relax.
Yeah, feet up, please.
Yes, and then I got to about level 15, I think, with him. Barbarian before. I could have done at least 20 hours in that beta, I reckon, over the weekend. That's quite possible. There's no work being done in this time as well.
No, of course not. It's the way to do it.
It's the way to do it.
So what's the big change that you could see from 3 to 4? I'm hearing open world events, like almost like little MMO like elements.
It basically is, yeah. It did remind me a bit of Destiny. You sort of you got that big open world. Like it's still a similar. It's almost different, but it's same. It's like the same. Like it's very familiar to 3 because of like the way the dungeons are set out.
Yeah.
And the general missions are the same. But yeah, it is. It's just one big open map, fully fog of war style. So you're just as you're going, you're unlocking these different towns. And you get these quests, I'll go to this dungeon and get this. And it's very repetitive, which I always expected from these games.
Yeah.
But yeah, the open world nature of it is that it does feel like a sort of MMO. You sort of you can stick to these the main quest if you're in it for the story and getting that done, or your side quest. But if not, you could just wander into the open world, these big huge areas that fucking the map is huge, like, and that demo was like 15-20 hours, and that was probably like a quarter of the map.
Really?
You can see the whole map, but you see that the demo was like the one subsection of it. And yeah, so that's pretty much the biggest draw. You've got a new dodge mechanic, so in terms of combat, they've implemented that, which the game's never had, which seems weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got this dodge mechanic. It's definitely more cinematic now. The graphics are vastly improved. I look back at 3 because I was like, I might go back and play a bit of 3, and then sort of going back and you're like, cool, that does look like old shit, old bag of shit,
old bag of crap.
But yeah, it's very much like there's proper cut scenes in this game. Like any Blizzard game is always known for their CGI. Like incredible cutscenes that they have before, like intros game. Well, where you will get like a cutscene where it will sort of you'll get to a mission or something. You'll get to a character, and then it will zoom in like in engine and become like a real AAA game cutscene, and then sort of zoom back out again into that thing. And there was a lot of that. Like I got to like some cathedral, and you just stand in front of it, and then the camera zooms in and looks like it's definitely a lot more cinematic. I wonder if that's Rod's doing, big old Rodney that strayed from the Gears franchise, washed his hands of it, and has gone into. So it'd be quite interesting. But yeah, it definitely has a more cinematic feel. The open world of it, I mean, Ubisoft, eat your heart out. There is shitloads you can get here. You've got dungeons, there's fucking cellars, there's so much. These world events, they're pretty cool. People can get in. Another thing with not having Game Pass is also not having an Xbox Live Gold subscription. So going into these open worlds, I didn't have anyone to play with. There was no randoms turning up. I did, however, give it a good shag, and the best thing about this is it's all tied to one Blizzard account, so it's cross-save across anything.
So you could have even booted up on PS5 and carried on as well.
No, there ain't a Switch version, is there? There probably will be later down the line. But yeah, I could have booted up on PS5 and carried on with my two characters. So that was brilliant.
Full cross-save.
Full cross support. It's brilliant, yeah. I believe there is support as well so I can play against you with PS5, I believe.
What, like cross-play, basically?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
you would think if it's
you'd hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, that's maybe someone can confirm
that.
But asking about that, I mean, you played this on your Todd, and maybe with a few randomers, like you said, that when you went on the PC side of things.
Yeah.
What is the ideal way to play this? Because some will tell you and say you should only be playing in a group of 3 or 4 with a mixed party. Others will say Lone Rangers are allowable.
I feel like the characters like that, the classes do a great job of assisting you in that. So like that Necromancer does make it feel like you're not a Lone Ranger. So if you are going to go on your own, it's wise to pick that. So you're not getting snarled up and fucking killed every time. But it really does cater for both. I mean, I never felt out of depth when I was on my Todd. And sort of when I'd go on to a world event and another bloke would turn up, I thought, well, hello, mate, how you doing?
Yeah. Are they wandering? It's like a hub area where people are running around.
Yeah, so you have the towns. So like the towns basically where what you used to do in the old game is you'll go off and do a mission, then come back to your hub to, retrieve something. And that's where you'd have like your armourers and sell your that you've found and buy upgrade weapons and stuff like that. So it still has that, but yeah, when you go there, so there's now like you're just people running around essentially like the sort of tower or whatever the version will be in your MMO. I'm sure there's probably other stuff that you can get involved in there, but I've got to say, I really didn't get involved in any of because I didn't have it on X. I was playing a lot of it. I played the majority of this on Xbox. I was playing it on PC as well, just to see how it ran.
Yeah.
It ran fine on my on the old PC.
Yeah.
But I could tell the graphical downgrade that I had to do because of the specs, because it's a very it's quite a demanding game as well. I was saying that.
I've heard if you've got a good PC and you rank it right up, it looks significantly
it looks
improved
incredible.
than even on the Xbox. But you need a bit of a
you need a bit. It said it burnt out someone's 4090 or whatever they are now.
Yeah, that old girl you've got won't be up to that.
No, exactly. So it's seizing down now. So yeah, I did play, and the thing did run very well. It's a solid 60. I'm sure they'll probably do a 120 mode as well, at 4K. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna be. And it just seems to be very good. Like I do enjoy playing it with a mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
But they seem to have done a great job at converting it to controller now. It really is like it's one of those games that the keyboard warriors will have a go and say, it's like an FPS. You're like, well, that's the definitive way to play a first-person shooter with mouse and keyboard, because you can be so precise. You do have an advantage in terms of you've got keyboard in front of you, so you've got hotkeys for fucking everything.
Yeah.
If your fingers are quick enough. But I just find it more comfortable, especially that laid-back nature that I love of it so much. It just felt right. It felt right to playing it as a console game, which is probably disgusting to hear from a vastly master race series. Yeah.
Well, this sounds all very positive. Any other bits you wanted to mention on it?
No, just that. Yeah, the sort of the world looked incredible. Some great voice acting. Customization of your character was quite deep as well, like actually creating your character. I think there is a trans mod. I didn't really use it much, to be honest, because it's just a demo. When I play these demos, especially now, I found out I thought this fucking thing was carrying over progress, but it's not. It's complete cut down. So I was like, well, with that, so I was like skipping cutscenes and I thought there's no point listening to all this and taking it all in properly, because I'm going to be going through this again, so I'll pay attention. But yeah, so yeah, I was just quite sort of blown away by the sort of presentation of it and how, like I say, cinematic it felt and how much of a visual upgrade it was. But yeah, the sort of fluidity of it was quite impressive. Wow. The only downside, I'd have to say, was probably them fucking wait times.
Yeah.
And the Chinese glitch that I showed you.
Yes, yeah. You can only assume that even if on launch day there's wait time issues, within a weekend, it'll be resolved. I mean,
I was going to say, Friday night was the worst. And then pretty much, I think by Sunday, I weren't waiting more than like 2 minutes, to be fair.
That's fine, isn't it? Is that even the case, even though you didn't have gold on Xbox? Like, what are you queuing for if you can't see other players?
I did wonder that. Exactly, yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah, I don't know. It must just be like an offline
Should have rung up and go, hey, I'm not doing anything.
I don't want to get involved in these jerks.
Yeah, exactly them.
But no, so, yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of negatives. I think like the thing is that people will complain that it is too easy, very repetitive.
Love easy.
You know, I joke.
But the thing about Diablo 3, I remember when we rattled through like the campaign once. There's about 15 difficulty levels above what we did it on.
Exactly.
So
that's very true.
I imagine they'll offer the same flexibility at launch, if not soon after, for those that want to just grind for the best gear. And you know, there's all that goes into the end game, is that you kind of replay campaigns or do harder dungeons and whatnot. I'm sure that'll all be there. But for a beta, you just want people to get their feet wet and
that's
and
it. Yeah, just see it. No, very good stuff. Yeah,
well, that's excellent. June the 6th.
June the 6th. Yeah. See, now this is the trouble. Like for me, at the minute, after playing that, how much I enjoyed that beta, it's a day oneer for me.
Yeah.
But we have got pipelines here. We've got
Tears of the Kingdom, 12th
Tears
of
the
May.
Kingdom, Survivors.
Yep, end of April.
What was that? It's two big ones. Final Fantasy. When's that?
June 20-something.
June.
Yes.
So, I mean, Diablo versus Final. It's
whatever comes first. 22nd for Final Fantasy 16. So it'll have a couple of weeks leeway with Diablo. And I don't know if you're about to hold off.
No, it's difficult decisions to be made.
Yeah.
Get it all on Game Pass and I'll get a subscription.
Yeah.
No, physical only, baby.
Yes.
So no, enjoy my time with it. could be a day one purchase, but them old fucking Blizzard boys ain't backing down from that price. $69.99 currently.
It's $59.99 on
Battle.net.
Battle.net. I was trying to look through on Steam, and remember they don't always put their stuff on there, do they? So
no, they don't.
There is a discount on the old PC
The
version.
thing that annoys me a fucking thing, I like to know how long I'm playing games for, and in the beta there's none of that recording time, and on the fucking Battle.net, whatever it's called, there is none of that on there either. So. Yeah. That puts me off. The only good thing is that I don't have this gold subscription and stuff, and on PC you don't have to worry about that sort of thing.
Yes.
I'll be playing. I can do those. I mean, I still have access to the world events and stuff, but I just want to be on my own. And I think they're sort of typically harder to do on your own. You know, like doing a fucking raid on your Todd on thing. Try and pick the bones out of that. But. Yeah, cool. Diablo on Amazon, $69.99 for the normal version. So we'll see. But I enjoyed my time with it. I'll be interested to hear what Salmon thought. I don't know how much he got to play.
No, he probably. I reckon he went in those queues and went, deal with it. But yeah, June the 6th, Diablo 4, looking good for people that are into that. I think it's going to do fucking excellently well in all aspects, whether it's critical and commercial. It's going to be an absolute flying off the shelves, but we'll see. Could be born out to be wrong with that. Now, I'm just going to have a little break from some game impressions. A couple of things. One big meaty-ish one to perhaps get into, but also the BAFTA Game Awards took place. The final of the quadruple of awards. So we've had the Game Awards, we've had DICE, we've had GDC, literally as we recorded this, so dated it, but it's there. We've had DICE, had GDC, had the Game Awards, and Elden Ring had the treble, and it's looking to do not an unprecedented quadruple, because that has actually been done before, and that game was God of War 2018, the only one to have done that, to have got all four of those as Game of the Year or the best game equivalent. So big pressure on Elden Ring to deliver. It's been touted as the third coming, after Breath of the Wild being the second coming. And best game for the BAFTAs went to Vampire Survivors. So Elden Ring has blown it at the last hurdle by a little indie game.
You said that. I think you said it last week, didn't you, to Logan, that
they do weird shit sometimes.
They give it to Destiny, didn't they?
They gave it to Destiny one, the vanilla version. The Game of the Year, the EE Game of the Year, which is the public vote, actually went to God of War, so a real disaster.
Again. Up yours From Software.
That won't please Salmon, but the people and the BAFTAs, which is our home stomping ground, have spoken. I've been having an eye on that Vampire Survivors and never really got round to going into it, but
seems to be a bit of a Steam Deck lover thing. I've seen a lot of people that got that Steam Deck, a few of my friends on there, and they all seem to be playing that.
It's been in amongst the nominations. You know, I've seen it lurking, but it's toppled Elden Ring and God of War, who are probably the two favourites going into that. And the
funny thing is, you say that Sam will be loving that. Last time I checked Steam last night,
he was playing Vampire Survivors. Yeah, that's true. Need to ask him about that then. So yeah, maybe he will be happy, but not at the expense of his precious Elden Ring running at 45 FPS. Ray tracing added. Anyway,
they've done an update on that yet, have they?
No. Ray tracing's gone in now.
Yeah, sorry, DF. I'm thinking of the DF.
Oh, they've just released the video. It's out now. The ray tracing. It was Thursday. I think they put that out. So that's they're lurking, but they weren't too impressed on the podcast. They're saying it's not a good ray tracing implementation, and also they're not sure what effect it has on performance. So it's already at a struggle there. But congrats to Vampire Survivors. Definitely now I've got two eyes on that. Just to heard good things about everyone that's kind of played through it. Mostly it's a roguelike though, so that will turn heads and turn people off. But speaking of something that would work very well on a portable system, I should also add that Vampire Survivors only on mobile, Xbox and Windows and Mac at the moment, so no PlayStation or Switch. So it's got other places to come. Anyway, Tears of the Kingdom. We got a bit of a gameplay demonstrations around just over 10 minutes or so. I think the whole video is 13 minutes, but there's a bit of waffle at the start and the end. They showed the custom OLED Switch, which I assume you've already pre-ordered.
I threw mine in the
Switch.
bit. Actually, saying that, I thought fucking Albert had smashed his one up the other day.
God.
It like just wouldn't turn on. He was like playing it, just went black. I was like, he's blown it.
He's broken it, little sod.
I managed to get it back. Well, I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, I had to like hold down like a volume button and a power button and a up button and
fully reset it.
Yeah, full reset, and it re-sprung up again. I was like, fuck that. But yeah, the OLED was almost purchased for that.
Yeah, it's there for people that want it. The actual game not due till the 12th of May, as we mentioned earlier. So we've got about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So on the whole, I'll just give this looked extraordinarily similar to Breath of the Wild. Like even down to like when you go to that little like stable, it had the same music playing, and I was like, okay, they're not even going to update that. That's okay. Now, I think people had this opinion of God of War Ragnarok before it came out.
Right. Yeah,
you looked at that, and you go, well, what are they actually doing that's of use there? And that ended up not mattering at all, because despite its similarities, it built on what was a great platform. Many will say Breath of the Wild's a great platform, so that's there. So that's just an observation with the caveat that it might not be nothing to worry about. I thought the interesting way to go through it is they showed off basically some key aspects of the game, sort of 4 new powers, and we got to look at something called the Sky Islands, which are basically big old rocks in the sky. And just chat about those, really. There's other little smaller notes at the end of it, but it's got Sky Islands, so they're just up in the air. We saw those in the trailers and whatnot, so that is what it is, and they're going to be up there.
Say, from what I saw, I thought there'd be more revealed. It really was just a sort of scratch of the surface.
Well, I hope they've got more to reveal.
Oh, well, I fucking do too, because we haven't been promised, but there's been very strong rumours of even like an underground, a sort of dungeon-esque.
That very first trailer, they are underground.
Exactly.
So maybe there's stuff hidden below there. Maybe there's 3 levels to this.
That's what I'm wondering. Well,
Elden Ring-esque, maybe.
It could possibly be. I mean, someone did say that. Even like they're up in the Sky Islands and all the trees were yellow. They were like, cool, they've really gone for that Elden Ring look, haven't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did watch a couple of videos after of some real Nintendo nerds really deep diving into that trailer and sort of picking in all the bits out that were different. And I've got to say, my first impressions were like, this literally looks exactly the same. Off the bat, the only thing I could see that they added was the coordinates on the minimap. I was like, right, okay. So there's no context whatsoever of what's gone on story-wise, which is good, because we don't want none of those sort of spoilers.
There's nothing to spoil in Breath of the Wild, so maybe if it's another situation here, maybe there isn't anything, but I can't imagine they'll make that blow again.
No.
If Link wakes up and it's 100 years later again, I'm going to fucking throw my Switch through the window.
One thing that's one of the YouTubers did say, which I was like, I'd like to say this, how are they going to explain? So you go through Breath of the Wild, you fucking go from 3 hearts to fucking, whatever it is, 20.
Whatever, How
are we going back to 3 again? We're going to start that game of 3 again.
Same old Metroid problem, isn't it? She always uses her powers in some disaster. I imagine that they'll come up with some old bollocks, won't they? They'll say those things that you were praying at have died or whatever, and lost all your powers. But be interesting to see. But Skylands are a big feature because what plays into that, you have the recall. They call it a recall power, but it says rewind on the bloody screen, so I don't know what that's all about. But essentially, you can go up to an object and it's moved and set it to rewind its last moment. So in this case, there's a rock that fell from the Sky Islands and fell down. You go near the rock, you hit recall, and it goes back up to the top, so you can access the Sky Island. Now, can that be used on anything? Can you throw a weapon and recall it, or is it just predetermined objects? We don't know. But I imagine that's going to be used heavily in puzzles and whatnot.
Yeah, I reckon so too. Yeah, I do wonder, is that the only way you're going to be getting to these Sky Islands?
He did say there's other ways that we hope you find out, but I can't think of another easier way.
I didn't. Well, I didn't play through the game. I bought it and never played it. Was the Skyward Sword, which also had Sky Islands in, and that you had like birds that you could get up and down with. So I do wonder because I've got to say, one thing that did surprise me was the seamless transition between Sky Islands to the ground level.
Yes.
I was expecting at least some sort of, especially running on that fucking old Switch.
Yeah.
I expected some sort of fucking black screen or thing, but it does seem to be quite
seamless, yeah. Even when you fall down.
Exactly. So that was quite impressive, even though it is a big old barren wasteland. But yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what you could do. I mean, we've seen from another trailer, you can use it in combat as well. Do you remember there was like that big giant mace ball that was coming towards, and he was like hurling it back at all the enemies. So be interested in there. But I've got to say, it was more the other new mechanic ability that he uses that I feel that seems to be like, it was almost the unwritten rule or the unwritten hook of Breath of the Wild, was how creative the community got with the physics sort of engine of the game, of how you could use your bloody abilities to fly across the map and cheat the fucking shrines and dungeons. And I think that this new fuse ability is what people can. The trouble is there. It does sound like there's a lot you can do, but we still don't really know what the limits to that is.
No.
You can do this fusing.
It's a fuse seems to allow you to combine like objects and weapons together and create new weapons and new instances. Will this also address the durability and weapon breakage annoyance? They kind of alluded to that, but I assume those fused weapons can still break. And when you've already got if you get a master sword at some point, is that going to have to fucking recharge, or are you going to have to fuse a battery to it so it never does? I don't know. No. I liked the super long spear that he made. That was quite clever. I like that. And also the fusing of the arrows with the eye.
That's
because those monster eyes, I think I ended it with about 5 million of those, and I never used them.
Anything. No,
now you can use them onto arrows, and they'll track and hit the enemies out of the air immediately. So there's definitely they showed off some. I assume that's just scratching the surface of it, but it's basically a crafting element that's been added to the game, and
it's interesting that they're gonna. It seems quite simplistic in terms of people say like, oh, it's just gonna be so good to be able to craft, not to have to go through all these menus and then have it out. It's just the click of a button of it doing it. But it's also like there was a lot of comparisons. Again, we don't really know the extent of it, but like they're saying, oh, when he makes the boat and stuff, this fuse you can gel. We've seen you can make
Ultra Hand,
that's it.
It's the same thing, but
exactly.
You just have to stick things together with Ultra Hand rather than infuse. It just sort of does it. You sort of choose from a menu, and it goes blonk, and it becomes a new thing. But
yeah, with Ultra Hand, it almost alluded to at the end of the demo. He sort of came down from the sky and landed, and it didn't get involved with it, but it looked like there was a house that was being built, almost Red Dead Redemption style. And people were sort of alluding and looking into that, thinking like, are we going to be able to have this sort of minimalistic Minecraft element to this game and be able to build?
I'm sure you can. But that
quite excites me, is to see like what the community will do with it. I don't think it'll be.
Pack that in, or not pack that in. This is what I keep hearing from people. Oh, the videos will keep going for years and years. And I go, yeah, okay, impressive. But what does that mean to you when you fucking play it? You ain't going to do any of this shit.
I don't play games like the videos that now play of Breath of the Wild. I've never tried to fly from one map to the other.
You just don't. Most people just won't use it in that way. Like the videos are cool. Don't get me wrong. Like it shows how the physics come together in the toy box element. But when I play this game, I'm probably going to scratch about 8% of what it is, because it's not really. I spent enough time in survival games building houses that I'm kind of done with that sort of part of games. I mean, we had it with fucking Fallout 4 building settlements, and now I've got to build my own boat with batteries and fans that run out of steam after 20 seconds and wait for them to recharge just to get around. Can't go under the water, dive under the water either. I thought that was going to be added in.
That was going to be.
Bloody
I thought
hell.
That when you jumped and landed into the water, I was like, oh, here we go. So we can get some Horizon Zero Forbidden West levels. And I was like, oh, no.
Still just drown in the water.
What did you think of that final ability? The
Ascend.
That was the one.
So the way they
were struggling on that cave.
It didn't like that, did it? So Ascend lets you travel up through the ceiling if you're in a area which has a ceiling to the floor above. So you could in theory, go into a house and travel up to the roof if you wanted. The big example they showed was going into a cave and being able to just use the power to go up through the roof of the cave and end up on the top of a smallish mountain. They said it had restrictions, didn't go into what that might be, so it's not going to be for everything. And
that's what I was wondering. I wonder if, like, with the other abilities in Breath of the Wild, you could increase them, couldn't you? Expand them and
they become more powerful. The cooldown was lessened and whatnot.
Are they going to use like that ascend ability? Will you be able to ascend to the bloody Sky Islands by the end of the game? Who knows? They sound like they're going to limit that. I think that seems to be more for people maybe that are getting pissed off with the stamina bar and not being able to reach some of those stuff until the late game, until you had a real fucking big stamina bar.
Well, to be fair, like in Breath of the Wild, you do get an ability where you can like use like you get wings or something from one of the beasts, and you sort of go up there and you can glide. That, although it doesn't get you that high, it can reduce the amount of climbing you do because you just sort of skip up about half of a mountain or whatnot. But yeah, I mean it'd be interesting to see what the restrictions are on that, and will undoubtedly speed up traversal, which I think is something that people didn't like, but not. In what they showed for that Ascend one, not necessarily a game changer for me anyway. No,
it's strange because what I did see that I thought was quite interesting, but for me, what I didn't enjoy about the Breath of the Wild isn't what they covered. I wanted to see what they were doing with the dungeons and stuff.
Dungeons blew badly in Breath of the Wild. The bosses were garbage, in my opinion. The shrines I liked. I like the shrines.
But are we going to get another 120 tiny shrines, or are we getting big fuck off dungeons like the
Why
old
not just
school?
do both, you prats?
Yeah, do both. We've seen these trailers with swirling thing. The shrines are gone. The towers are gone. What's happened here? We've got no, what's going to happen? I don't know. They just seem to blow a lot away. I thought what they showed was very...
It's toy box elements, isn't it? It's about... And all those people who make the content or sit there watching YouTube videos rather than playing the game.
Yeah,
we're fucking going... Ah!
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a poor showing of...
Cool, craps on them, what?
Craps on the bastard. I thought it was a poor showing of differentiating Breath of the Wild. It didn't make it look like a new game. Like certainly in terms of graphics, I couldn't tell a difference, to be honest. They're like same soundtrack and stuff.
Did it look like DLC is the question people are asking.
This is the thing. In my opinion, I thought it did. I thought it did like DLC. It does sound like it's shitting on it, but I am very hyped for this game, and it will be a day one purchase for me. But yeah, I've got to say, I was expecting a lot more, even in terms of like the UI was almost exactly the same. Like say, bar now, which could be a real, coordinates.
Yeah.
On your mini map, which will be handy. But I want to know what else is going on. I want to know, how what's going to be different. Are we just doing exactly the same? What are we taking down now? What, is it Ganon all the way, or is it the same open world? I can go and do anything I want like I did last time.
Yeah.
What's going on with these dungeons? We're not I don't know. You sort of play shit. We've still got another over a month to go yet. Another month and 2 weeks. So
I assume we're going to see more in this sort of six or so weeks that have been left. But I don't know.
As a whole,
did
that get you more or less hyped?
No, didn't even move the needle either. I mean, no, it wasn't a needle mover, positively or negatively. No, maybe, I don't know if I'll say negative. There's nothing there. I was like, oh, can't believe they've done that. It's just I'm more like you. Like it's not quite what I wanted to see. So I'm kind of like holding. But really, I am really cold on this at the moment.
Yeah,
I really don't know if I'm going to go day one. I honestly not convinced I will.
Yeah.
I'll go and play fucking Diablo a few weeks later instead, just to get that Rodney stirred up. Get that Necromancer up to max level first.
That's the way to do it. So,
but wait for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I am getting real sucked because I do watch a lot of
your most anticipated game.
Yeah, I think it is at the minute.
It was when we done the show. Gaming's most wanted.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it probably still is currently.
Cool.
Yeah, I do get sucked into the hype of it because I watch so many YouTubers, Nintendo YouTubers, and to
Fucking
them,
gaslighting. You get away from them.
yeah, Breath of the Wild is the second coming. They cannot fault it. But yeah, my biggest thing was that weapon fucking durability, and as soon as I saw that was back in, I was disheartened. But
So even with the
this is the thing, the fusing does make it better. I want to see how well that does prolong weapons, because I did find that, like in Breath of the Wild, I'd just keep stuff because I thought like you'd have your best weapons, and I was scared to use them because they'll fucking break.
Yeah.
I hardly use that Master Sword because I thought it'll just run out.
No, it's annoying. Well, it's not. Well, maybe it was annoying to me for sure, but I just don't know if that feedback looks, because you get to a point in that game where you've got like a decent repertoire of weapons and shields, and you come across a camp and you think, I could lose a weapon and a half and hearts and whatnot fighting these bastards. I'll open the chest and it'll be a wooden butt. Like, there's no positive feedback loop for you to continue to combat and take on enemies. Like the monster parts you get, you got 4 million of those. So without there being any sort of XP that you just get from killing things and level up something, which you normally would get in a typical traditional RPG. And I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying the way that it's set up means that just thought I'll avoid combat until I have to fight a boss or whatnot. And I don't know. I don't know if this fuse will necessarily solve that, because I'm assuming the fuse stuff will still break. I would like to see, what I wanted was, I want to be able to craft arrows. I want to be able to get my wood and put a stone with it that I've picked up and make an arrow. That's what I wanted. And this wasn't quite that, but I'm wondering whether part of it will be in the menus. You can start to craft your own resources.
Yeah, I wondered that.
Well,
they showed you in that trailer that bloke he used a one of them, I forget what they're called now, the little blob things, and he used it for an ice thing.
I see, he made an ice elemental of it, yeah.
Does that mean now, like all the bomb arrows, the fire arrows, the ice, are they all gone? So is it just all crafting? So a lot to see, but yeah, I've got to say I was expecting more from that footage, certainly to be more blown away than I was. Not to say that what I saw was bad, I just expected a bit more of a, like you say, when God of War Ragnarok come out, there was that concern of what are they going to do? Like, that game was so good, how are they going to build upon that?
Yeah.
And then after seeing like the first fucking gameplay footage, you're like, right, maybe that's quite good. Whereas this, I was sort of like, okay, I see what they're doing. They're definitely going more creative, but it hasn't appealed to me. It's not how I play this game.
Roblox, Zelda edition. We don't make your own levels, but make your own fucking house.
Comparisons to Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
I saw that as well.
I was like, cool.
But I mean, there's part of me that thinks, could I just bin this off this year and wait for a Switch 2 to potentially come in the next 18 months? And then if there's a performance uplift to be had of a 60 FPS, then dive in at that point. But that's a risky game to play, because that Switch 2 is, well, it ain't guaranteed at all. That's just an expectation they'll do something in the next year. And if they didn't, I'd be like, well, I've blown this. But I may well consider doing that. But I want to see what's going on with dungeons, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
the
if at all.
Me. Yeah, I'd be interested to see, because I did love the shrines. I thought they were good. There were some shitters, but there were so many of them that they were good in overall.
Some of those shitters in the DLC, they get fucking hard. They do.
Yeah, I never did that.
Like combat trials as well, and I was like, oh my god, base combat is not up to snuff.
Nah. And then you had something you just get in and they go, oh, you've already got the prize because you turned up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I quite liked those ones.
Yeah, because they were tricky.
The hidden shrines, like little riddles that you'd find. I liked those ones.
Yeah, they were
so I hope there's
cool.
more of that scattered around. There's more reasons to look at riddles and whatnot, but we haven't seen it, so I'm not going to...
No.
So people will be like, people are overreacting. They've only showed 30 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, but it's 6 weeks away, and we can only react to what we're shown. And I could sit there and say, oh, well, of course they're going to do proper dungeons. Of course I'll be able to craft arrows in my inventory. Of course there's going to be hidden shrines again. But I don't know that, and I don't want to get into a Metal Gear Solid 5 situation where I've made up the ending and it ain't going to come down the fucking pipe again. So nowadays I just go, what have you shown me? Well, you shown me this. I've interpreted it this way, and I can't react any other way, I'm afraid. So
I also 100% thought they were delaying it again at the beginning. He's like,
right.
He said, just to let you know about the development. I was like,
what have you done, you lazy bastard?
I think the wording that he said as well, I was like, he's purposely done that.
Yeah,
bastard.
teased them. But that's Yeah, Tears the Kingdom coming fast. 12th of May 2023. No doubt going to perhaps be the forthcoming of Gaming Christ, and we'll be up there, I'm sure, in terms of the scores for a fantasy gaming league, which you have, and so does your mate Logan. So does he have that actually? I can't remember if he's got. He does, yeah.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
He does. So yeah, that's gonna potentially profit him. I expect this to be nothing other than university praise, but we'll see. We'll see in 6 weeks, and I hope we get another seeing of it before then. We can come back and say, okay, they've addressed some of the things that we were asking about. But there you go, lots for people to dig into, and potentially lots of flexibility when it comes to crafting and mucking around with the physics. Right, here we go then. Back half, we're going for a full one-shot podcast here. Normally we'd be pausing.
No, we're not. Well, we are, but I'm also... There has been some breaking news.
Oh God, is it actually going to be breaking news?
It's breaking news. I'm sure we'll just dive into it quite smallly, because I'm sure you're going to end up covering this maybe next week. But breaking news as of 33 minutes ago, 2023's E3 is officially cancelled.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well,
so we expected this new. Well, I didn't expect a full thing. I mean, we've seen all the polls out. I thought they'd still stick to their guns and try and just hash one out and just get smaller ones. But no, the ESA announced today that this year's E3 has been cancelled. The event was supposed to be held on the 13th to the 16th, and it will be the first in-person E3 since 2019. But that is now cancelled. Your fault.
Well, selfishly, it don't really make a toss to us, because we're never going to get invited. We're never going to travel over to Los Angeles. I'm sorry if that's a yearly event that people go to, but
I have actually been there.
But
on
not
me holidays, outside and drive past. That was it.
But apart from that, like, it's not something we would necessarily attend, or that the overwhelming majority of gamers will attend either. You just kind of
couldn't even stomach EGX for a second.
No, exactly. So from that point of view, it doesn't really affect us. I'm sure. Well, we know that Microsoft and others are still doing showcases during that period. Jeff's doing
E3 lives
and that's,
on.
to be honest, what I would be more interested in. I mean, I liked the game impressions you get from the show floor, but it didn't feel essential. And I know it means more to some people than others. There's like big industry ramifications and whatnot. But to be honest, for us, we never were going to get hands-on with it anyway. So we're just living vicariously through whoever you decide to go on YouTube and find impressions of, which is fine. But, it's not going to be there and not going to be an issue for us. It's been, 3 years now? Maybe 3 years, and not looking good for that. I mean, maybe it can be rehashed into something smaller, but that's my reaction. Your thoughts?
Yeah, same. Very much similar sort of thoughts. Like I say, it really doesn't affect us in terms of that. I did love the E3 press conferences. Like,
the live ones.
The live ones were hilarious. Like, as cheesy as some of them were. I did just enjoy sort of waiting for that big. I remember that time when we came around yours and watched I think it was like an EA, wasn't it? Yeah. I did really like that. Just because it was like something to look forward to. But again, that's not gone. We still are going to get these sort of directs that they do now, but it just doesn't have the same thing. But I don't know, I guess I suppose it's one of those things that these shows have to evolve. You can't sort of carry on the same thing. These companies now realize that what was it, like PlayStation, they got some real bad fucking feedback the last one they did, didn't they? Where they had
that's the thing as well, like, you just can't make people fucking happy.
No,
seriously.
Exactly.
Like, I don't blame
they tried
some
to
of the
take
firms
it all,
doing it.
I think it was that one of The Last of Us, wasn't it, where they fucking moved rooms, didn't they?
That's it, they went through
everyone's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So they tried to change it up and tried to make it more fucking la-di-da, but ultimately people just want to see what the games are. No one wants these fucking about anymore, so yeah, I just wonder what old Jeff thinks now. Is Jeff the real killer of E3?
Yeah, well, he's the Summer Game Fest is probably still going ahead, and I don't know what that will mean or entail, but You know, that's going to be the last standing thing. And like I said, others are still planning to do showcases in and around that window anyway. So, you know, it is what it is.
It did sort of go on, didn't it? It weren't just the E3 event. You did carry on almost like the month of June. So the time will still
traditional
be there.
press and people that go to it always cry about it. But I would say 80% of gamers were like, nice to have.
I think that's it as well now. You don't think they'll try and revitalise this next year?
Well, it felt like you can't do it this year when everything has been not disrupted by COVID at all. I mean, I got a notification saying, well, the track and trace or the NHS COVID app's been shut down. I was like, oh, it's over then, is it now? Is that it?
Oh, that worry's done.
Yeah, so like it's not been disrupted and still they've not been able to get a foothold. So unless I'll give it one more year. I'll say if they don't get it out next year, it's probably dead. Unless they say, look, we're going away for 3-4 years and then we'll come back, you know, negotiate with the firms, make it appealing for people to actually show their games off on the show floor. But, you know, at this stage, it's not looking good. So E3 2023 cancelled. And we'll see whether E3 continues in the years to come. Resident Evil 4. 2005 edition. Yeah.
Fact it.
It's not the remake. But I thought it'd be fun to just check in this whilst...
remake. HD edition.
HD edition, yes. Played on what?
PC.
PC.
Steam. I was looking the other day. I think it might be the most ported. No, it can't be.
It's been on GameCube. It was on 360. It was on PS3. I think it's been on PS4.
There's a mobile version.
Oh God, it's a VR version.
Here we go. I'll list them now. There's GameCube.
Yep.
PS2.
Yep.
Microsoft Windows.
Yep.
Wii. iOS.
Yes, Wii. Yep.
Zebo. Don't even know what that is.
No.
PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Android, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and the Oculus Quest 2.
Bloody hell. That is one of the most ported, as you said, that is probably up there.
Up there.
We're not going to spend War on Peace on this because we expect within a few weeks, at some point, we're playing Resident Evil 4 remake at our own pace, and eventually once people are ready, we'll return with thoughts on that. So I don't want to make that too redundant by hashing out the original too deeply, but this will be a fun little exercise. I have to start with this though. How and why has this happened? Because I'm concerned, and here's a string of events that have concerned me lately with you. So first of all, we had Gotham Knights. Getting a bronze in your personal showcase of favourite games because it had interiors that looked nice. So that's strike number one. I thought Rodders has gone off the ball there. Then we had God of War Ragnarok earning itself a platinum, which is fine. I agree with you. Elden Ring earned itself a gold. But when it came to voting for Game of the Year, you put forward Elden Ring.
Yeah, that doesn't add up.
And then the final strike is this. Days before the definitive edition of Resident Evil 4 is about to be released, this new 2023 version, you go and play the original, spoiling yourself of a fresh experience with the definitive edition. What is Rodney up to? Rodney
has had a mare. He's been struggling the last few weeks. He's had 3 months of 30 takeaway meals and it's destroyed him.
Turned his brain to mush.
He literally has. Right, let me try and reason my logic on this. The Elden Ring thing, I don't know what happened there, but all I can say is I gave that to Elden Ring because it was a new IP. Well, not a new IP, but...
it was a new IP.
It was a new IP, I suppose. Yeah, I'll give it for that. Anyway, by that side. My reason thing, what I find I do with these type of games is I always do a comparison to see the differences. I like to see the differences. Pause.
I understand. Did you do this with Resident Evil 2?
No. No, I didn't.
Did you do this with Resident Evil 3?
No.
No? Okay. Well then...
that's the ruined thing. Because I don't think I had access to it.
No, that's true. I don't know how you would have played those games other than emulation on the PS.
So I haven't got. I don't even think I've got.
No, I haven't on that actually. I think it's only the original. So they are hard to get hold of, but you could have found a way. Come on, Rodders.
And actually, why don't I talk to you through my Instagram? I definitely have the. I think I've got 2 and 3, or have I got 1 and 2? on PS1, which I think I could play on PS2. But anyway, the logistics were too hard for me. It wasn't as easy. If I had it on Steam, I think I probably would have.
Okay.
Because I remember I did this for Final Fantasy VII, didn't I? I played up until the point of Remake 1. So the brain goes, I like to see these differences. And then, I was sort of sitting there thinking about like how much of the I pretty much own almost every game in the fucking Resident Evil franchise, and I started to think, well, how much have I actually completed? And I was like, fucking hell, I've not really completed. I've only completed like 3 of them.
Yeah, what would that be? 5, 6, 7, Village.
5, 6, and 7. Yeah, Village. And then the remake 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
So the originals, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and was it Chronicles?
There's Code Veronica and stuff in there.
I don't know if that's counted as a main line, but 0, 1, 2, and 3 of the originals I haven't ever completed, and 4 at that time. So there's like
Resident Evil 1 is available on all platforms. The original.
Oh, really?
You can download that on PS4 and PS5 and play it. It's I wouldn't recommend it.
No,
but you can. Like,
you can.
Them tank controls. You can turn the tank controls off, to be fair to it, but then it just controls weird.
Even worse.
But anyway, yeah.
But no, so yeah, the brain just got confused, and I was like, right, I love this comparison. I want to, even though I know it's going to spoil me, and I run the risk here of a Resident Evil burnout jobby, and I even played it in the strip of a burnout. I played it possibly the worst way you could play it, that breakneck speed.
Yeah.
Not taking in the game for what it is and just getting through and getting it done. Steamrolling it. I don't know. I just wanted that comparison, and I wanted to see. Oh, I do own 1, 2. I own 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation.
Cool.
I didn't even know I had that. Crikey. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think did I do? No, I didn't. I even cheated as well and didn't restart officially. I'd played up. I think. I won't say anywhere I got to. I played up till.
I played the final boss, which, as you know, is.
As you know, Dave, I played a few chapters. Chapters.
Less than 25% through. 20.
Yeah,
quarter the way through.
About 2 hours in, I think, or something like that. Something very small.
Yeah.
I'd played on there, and I just carried on from there because I could remember. I think I watched like a trailer of it, and I was like, right, and I was like, well, people regard this again like Breath of the Wild. This is the second coming. This is, when people talk about their favourite games ever, Resident Evil 4 does get a lot of mentions.
Yeah, it's GameCube exclusive, so that'll tip you off there. Those fucking Nintendo bumps there.
Exactly.
Couldn't believe their luck. Yeah, they actually got a good one.
They got an absolute belter. But yeah, so I thought, fuck it. Do you know what I'm going to do? I think it's where I've not been working recently. So I've been stuck at home. I'm on the dole now, I think. But I had some time off, and I was just like, I'll tell you what I'm going to play. I'm going to do a bizarre thing. Like you say, I've got the definitive edition right around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend these next 3 days, and I'm going to absolutely blitz through this fucking thing. So I've got that 05 image in my head, and I can see this. Because what I feared, this could be a potential spoiler for a different game. So maybe blur this out if I overstep the mark.
What game is it?
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
What I'll say is, I won't try and spoil it, but what I thought is maybe if they do this, what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake, were they going to do this?
Were there more liberties taken?
Were they going to take more liberties with this?
Or do what they did with Resident Evil 2 in a way?
Yeah, I suppose there was.
Much more of a reimagining. I mean, you couldn't do 2, and well, you could, but it would be very,
very difficult.
Yeah, they had to do with that.
They had to do that. But I feared that they'd do a full 7,
right?
A full remake 7, Final Fantasy, and I wouldn't have that prior knowledge to know that they've done that. Not that I've ever completed the original 7, so I probably would still. No. But yeah, so I feared that was what. So I wanted to have that original image of it and know how the story goes. Not so much just so I knew how the story ended. I just wanted to have this so I can see what the changes was.
Feel the impact of this new movement and
Exactly,
shooting
yeah.
mechanic that wasn't there
Exactly.
in
I wanted to have something
2005.
to comparison rather than because I've always wanted to play the original. Rather than sort of play through 7 and go, oh, that'd be interesting. Let's go back to '05, and then when you go back and you go, fuck me.
Yeah, that's the wrong way to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just tried to do it, and luckily I don't feel like I haven't barely touched remake, to be fair, but I will be going through more of it this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel because of the way I went through it. I really did blitz through it in a few days, and I really didn't play like I wouldn't do a typical. I try and take my time and explore everything. I really did fucking breakneck the bastard.
Yeah.
It still took a fair time, to be fair, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I decided to take the plunge, and that was my reasoning, that I wanted that sort of prior knowledge. And silly,
Okay.
really, but that's the
No,
logic.
that's fine. I mean, I understand. I mean, it's not something I would tolerate doing because
No.
my brain wouldn't. I don't know if I could. I don't know. I did try and play Resident Evil 4 about 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Not on PC, was it?
I think it was on Xbox One. You know,
Oh,
Or
yeah.
it may have been that, or even don't think it was 360 quite, but
Right.
around that sort of period where it may have been either of those. But no, I didn't finish it. It got, you know, maybe a third of the way through, maybe a little bit further than that, and then I sort of in my head said, well, I'm sure this will get remade one day.
Yeah.
Sort of lying to myself, knowing that it was really unlikely to happen. And then lo and behold, when 2 remake and 3 remake come on, I was like, oh, they might do this, but they're potentially fucking with a all-time classic, so maybe they won't.
It'd be interesting
But
when
they did.
Witcher remake comes out. Am I going to do the same with? I've already tried to play that, and
Yeah, that is a real
within seconds, and
Well,
that's even more unplayable than.
Well, that's a good springboard, because all I really want to know from this, like I said, I don't want to labour the discussion too much. 'Cause I feel like a lot of this will, you know, not be made irrelevant, but it'll be interesting once 4 remakes sort of done and dusted for a few people, and we get a discussion going between us. Does this still hold up? Not talking really graphically.
No,
you can. I mean, it probably
the thing
still
is,
looks okay. I
it
would
still looks
imagine.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Run. The good thing about this is such an old game that
It runs
I was
like
like playing
butter.
this at fucking 4K almost, and
Yeah.
it was like max settings, and it does still look decent. You know, it's thing. What I was trying to do was trying to get into the mindset of how it was at that time and where Resident Evil was at that time as well, and I was sort of trying to push out anything else that I'd played. And yeah, I mean, I get like, you know, I had fun playing it. I didn't personally play it and go, fuck me, that was the best game I've ever played. But I can certainly see the innovation of what it done at that time.
Yeah.
Almost too infamously to itself. Like, it's almost probably one of the first games that implemented fucking QuickTime events. I don't know how often they came in, but there was a damn lot of them used throughout the whole campaign.
We're dying several times on one of those.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, some of them were fucking. I died loads to doing there. There was like one. I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do it. It's a real fucking pain. It was like a section of the game, and it was like probably about between 5 and 10 minutes of gameplay, and ended with a fucking QuickTime event.
oh, and you get that wrong.
And I had to do the whole fucking thing again. I was like, hang on, no, surely I just do the QuickTime event again.
Is there auto saving in it, or is it typewriter only?
Typewriter only, yeah. There's no auto
That's the
save,
one thing I've
yeah.
noticed in Resident Evil 4 on Standard Edition, the remake, that it has auto saves pretty much before every like big battle or every sort of new area you go to. So the typewriters are not irrelevant, but I think when you turn it up to like professional or maybe even hardcore, you can only do typewriter saves. But
Right.
but yeah. Well, I guess I'm just going to ask the question now. What with a 2023 lens, or however you want to do it,
Yeah.
does Resident Evil 4 2005, played on the PC, earn its way into your personal exhibition within the Dimp Digital gaming gathering? And don't forget, there's people wandering around looking at these, seeing who's put what, and it'll be there immortalised. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen?
I think it does in terms. Look, it's dated now because it is a fucking nearly 20-year-old game now.
Yeah.
So there's obviously mechanics in the game that are flawed, and it's been done. This type of game has been done better. But having said that, in terms of its story, in terms of itself not taking itself too seriously, like that type of thing where, like, a lot of this game is cheesy hell, but I think it's sort of self-aware and knows it's not taking itself seriously. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the Resident Evil franchise and them taking it in that new direction, I think overall as a whole package, I would rate this. This would definitely get into my. It's worth grading.
Worth grading. It's worth classifying it and immortalising it up on that plaque or whatever you've got. I don't know what you've got, but we'll sort that out later. Details in it, minor ones at that. Yeah. So what you got? You got platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. Where's this going to slot itself?
I reckon I'd probably pop this in at a gold. Yeah, I think it would go in a gold. I think, you know, the thing with this is my bread and butter, this type of game. This survival horror isn't. I wouldn't even go as far as to say it's a.
This is a horror action game.
It's a horror action game. This is
fucking mental.
It starts. It's not spoiler, but everyone knows how this game starts.
Yeah.
But it starts off as a survival horror.
Yes.
I mean, that opening section is renowned for being the epitome of a survival horror. Yeah. But very swiftly after that, it is an action. This is almost to its downfall again. This is the direction that the Resident Evil franchise went after this. I think they saw the success of this game and was like, oh no, this is what people want.
Yep.
I'll tell you what we're going to follow this up with, Resident Evil 5.
Oh, no. Yep.
And that sort of was the downfall, even though I enjoyed that game. But action, third-person action games, that is mine and yours, bread and butter. And yeah, I think that's the thing. I really did enjoy playing it. I felt it still holds up in terms of its combat. Like, there are the not being able to shoot whilst going along. It still has that elements of tank control. Some of the fucking aiming is diabolical. You've got that fucking laser. But then the sort of custom, like the almost puzzle entry of inventory. You always had that in. I think you had that on the PS2, didn't you? Vaguely.
What's that? Sorry.
The inventory. We had like the sort of puzzle system of it, where you've got this Tetris-like block.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember if that was in 2 and 3 or not.
I think it was.
I think it was. But what was interesting is like the whole use of the merchant and stuff. Like you had this upgrade system that was never in a game. You had this in-game currency, which probably wasn't a big thing at the time.
Yeah,
that's in every fucking game now. But yeah, I think as an overall package, I think it's. I'll say it's short and sweet, but it's not really. It's one of the longer Resident Evil games, but it didn't feel long. It didn't it sort of doesn't outstay its welcome. It's quite fun and engaging. The battles and there's quite a few puzzles throughout of it that were quite engaging. It weren't fucking things you're getting stuck on.
Yeah.
There's backtracking you can do. Very linear, obviously, for like most Resident Evil games are. It's sort of you get that bit of horror at the beginning, but then it does tend to slide off of the horror and it does just become an action game. But yeah, I mean, it overall is the epitome of a Resident Evil game, really. I really do look forward to playing the 4 to see what they do with it, because there were more, the more I think about it now, there were more dated things, a lot, especially with some co-op companions that you get along the way. The escorting, not in that sense, baby, but
nah.
But they
become a liability, and that's when you're like, wow, what's happening here?
They've made rightly changes in the remake. I think they looked at it and was like, right, what has aged and what is what needs changing, and they've made those choices, but
cherry picked
indeed. But no, I've got to say, overall, I'd like you to go through and play. I think after this, probably, like you say, it's the worst way to do it once you've played the definitive edition. But just to see how it holds up, I'd quite like you to run through it.
Yeah, I just it's some games that you just need to wash your hands off.
It's not your thing. I mean, like I say, I do seem to cherry pick myself of which games I do this with, but I don't know why that brain does love a comparison. I do it with everything. I even go as far as fucking when there's like a PS4 to PS5, I always am watching the changes, and I like to have that prior knowledge. And it was one that was like, I've got this list of fucking games that were started and not completed, so it was another one off of that list.
Checklist jobby. As long as the remake doesn't become one of those and doesn't get checked off, that'd be fine. Just for context here, so let's just run through some of the games that have scored worse in your exhibition. Forza Horizon 5, crapped on.
Crapped on.
Control Ultimate Edition, crapped on.
Crapped on.
Horizon Forbidden West, crapped on.
Crapped on.
Pokemon Legends Arceus, performance probably. I'm surprised that got a silver, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here's the big one that will raise eyebrows. The Last of Us Part 1, one of the greatest games ever made. Worse than 2005's
2005's thing.
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Is it?
Correct. Yeah, it is. Well, that was more for its performance. The package, paying the full price pay. I think I picked this up for £4. If I'd have paid £4 for Last of Us Part 1, mind you. No, you can't compare. This is apple and orange.
Is it? No, I mean, what if they were £4 both?
If they were both £4 both, then if they were both £4 both, then probably Thing is a better deal. But
what's the better game?
The better game. The better game. Last of Us Part 1 versus 2005. It's probably Last of Us Part 1.
What about Last of Us Original 2013?
Last of Us is core now. Probably Last of Us Part 1.
No, I agree. I thought he was going to say Resident Evil 4.
Oh, no.
I was like, Christ, you're going to upset Biff if you
the thing that is, like, that game, I think in the review I said it would be a platinum, but
that price.
It would be a similar thing if Resident Evil remake, it still might, but if they remade that like for like, the same as 4, and just done a visual upgrade, there was no changes whatsoever. They kept
70 UK pounds.
Exactly, yeah, that would get a silver, no doubt. So that's the only reason on there. But I see what you mean. Like, yeah, it's hard because I always try and set my mind back to when it was, rather than playing it in a 2023 when I've got this knowledge. I know I have this knowledge now of playing these games and how far we've evolved. But I try and pretend that I've just played it when it's been released in 2003 and try and get as blown away as I am.
Don't give me any benefit of the doubt. Fucking crap on it all. I'll be interested to see what happens to Metroid Prime. That's the next one.
Yeah, this is the next one on the hit list. I mean, I need to get a GameCube and go back and play the OG. But even with that, I mean, I've not even played the game and I've been watching videos of fucking comparisons.
Yeah.
I love to see the work they do. I tell you, the greatest ever fucking invention on a fucking remaster was the Halo Master Chief, where you could press that select button and see both worlds. That was phenomenal, and no cunt's done that since, which is really annoying.
No.
I'd love that if they did that in remake. I don't know how the fuck they'd do that, because it's a different game and it's ground up.
Yeah.
But if you could press select, and you can't even fucking press select these days, it's a fucking screenshot. But press the button.
The one with 2 rectangles on it, and the one with 3 lines on it. And what have you got over there? One with 3 lines on it, the one with 3 dashes on top of it. Don't know why we got rid of start and select, but that's another conversation for another day. Resident Evil 4 2005 earns itself a gold rating into the Dimp Digital Gaming Gallery. We're going to close down this one-shot episode. Good to have old Adkins back in the hot seat. And we'll be back. Well, actually, we'll have a week off because of the Easter break.
Yeah.
So that is the 7th, I believe. That's kicks off.
For his return. He's been delisted.
He's been cancelled.
He's been cancelled. He asked for his remarks.
His offline remarks to me directly. But yeah, so actually we're going to have a couple of weeks off, so don't expect a podcast next week because we're on a weekly cadence and have been doing that for over a year now. So we're going to have a little bit of feet up and, everybody else will be having loads of Easter eggs for me. And we'll return, though, after Easter with some more idle game chat. Nothing more for us to say other than thanks for your time. And ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.